This is the Bishop's Wife from Christian Mighty TV, and I just want to talk about a story that I kind of alluded to in a video that I just posted with my husband. The video was about waiting. It's called It's Okay to Wait. If you haven't seen it, take a look at it. It's on my YouTube, it's on my Facebook, links to it on my Instagram. But basically the story was about a time when I was praying about a potential relationship, and this had to be back in 2010. So at this point, I want to say I had been saved for almost 6 years. I was in college, and I had an extra semester in college. And during that extra semester, I was very heavily involved with the gospel choir. I was involved with a lot of different activities at the school. I was leading worship, I was mentor, I was doing a lot of things. And I ended up meeting this guy, and he really irritated me at first. So, it's just, one of those things, if people are in your face enough, it's something, you're gonna be friends, or you're gonna push them away, or whatever. But the guy really irritated me at first, and then he was really tall, was musically inclined. He was nice and stuff, so everybody was, he was cool with everybody. It seemed like he had a lot of friends around the school. And I'm really big on paying attention to how people are with their friends, how people are with their moms, with their siblings, and things like that. So at the time I was watching people. I wasn't really actively looking for a relationship, because I've never been a pursuer. But I think I was just paying attention to everybody that was in a relationship, or who all the single people were, because I was starting to get a little bit sad about being single myself. And I can remember one day I was in the cafe that belonged to the school, and I was sitting there just mad because I had just gotten off the phone with one of my friends. I had seen him just as a brother for so many years, and then I had a crush on him. He was actually one of the main reasons that I had gotten saved. I had a huge crush on him in high school. I'll name him John. I don't know. John was my friend in high school. I had a huge crush on him, and he was always coming to school talking about prayer, talking about the Lord. And I went to his church just because I thought he was cute. But he had a girlfriend, and I wasn't saved. So, I ended up getting saved the next year, going into the next school year. And so after I got saved, a couple years later, I find out that he and his girlfriend had broken up, and he had kind of started to like me. And I was at the time I was man, that's crazy, because I don't know, I just didn't want somebody to want to be in a relationship with me just because I was the only person that they were talking to. But yeah, so that's how I felt at the time. He had told me, well, I'm talking to you, and we were on the phone just talking about relationship stuff, not about with each other, but just in general. And I was well, do you have anybody that you're talking to so that you can, because I guess he really wanted to get married, I think is what I remember. And he was well, I'm talking to you. And I was oh, well, I wanted him to say, something more spectacular than that. I wanted him to be well, I like that you are like this, or whatever, just something nice about me, not that I was just the person he was talking to at the time. So I was nah. But then I was sad about it. And then I was sitting in the cafe in my feelings about that conversation, and then all of a sudden this tall guy, I'm gonna name him let me see, I'm really trying to pick when people, you don't want to pick names that's their name. I don't have anybody super close to me named John. The other guy's name can be Peter. Peter comes over to me, and he's asking why I look sad, and we start having a whole conversation, and somebody else comes and joins us, and he's like trying to comfort me about it, and then I'm looking like, you're just trying to have this conversation with me because you want to be in a relationship. But I don't know what happened. I think from that day it was just like a thought in my mind. I was in a vulnerable place because of the conversation that happened and my saltiness about being single, that we eventually started talking. Like, we started to show interest in one another. We had been hanging out like in groups, of course, like we would see each other in choir, we would see each other around. That was fine. But you know, I started to have feelings because of all of the conversations that were taking place. So on my side, I was presenting myself a certain way, because I think one of the things a lot of us like to do is that we present ourselves as being like the best version of ourselves, and that there's not necessarily something wrong with that, but for me, that adds an element of complication and unnecessary surprise. Because then when you get into a relationship or you get married, you move in, get married and move in together, you start to see like all of these other things about that person that you never knew, because they were so busy trying to show you like this, they showed you this side, but they didn't show you this side. And I like to see the complete person. So, for me, I never took the time to see the complete person. We started having a few conversations, and then it was summer break. So we took 3 months to go and pray about the possibility of a relationship. On my end, I was praying, but I made it into like a religious practice. Like it wasn't like a heartfelt prayer. I was just like more so like, I have to get this task done of praying about this today. And I would pray about it every day. And my close friends were noticing like, you seem to be making a little bit of an idol out of this praying about this thing. And I was, in my mind, I'm like, how can I be making an idol out of prayer? We're supposed to pray, I'm like trying to brush it off. But then what happens is I start to have dreams, and my dreams are just like looking back, I have enough discernment to know that those dreams were not like prophetic dreams. They were not like, from the Lord at all. They were just part of what I was already feeding myself throughout the day. We had resolved that, during that summer break, we weren't really going to talk to each other, but we were just going to pray. And then when the school year came back up, then we were going to, just talk about whatever the Lord showed us. But we found ways to still communicate. Like, I would post stuff on Facebook and change the privacy so only he could see it, but it was like a status that like was obviously like for him. It wasn't inappropriate or anything, but it was just like I was trying to hide the fact that I was trying to like say stuff. And he would see it and he would like it, and he would comment like a prayer, like, Lord, I pray that you would help me, blah blah blah, and it was funny, but at the same time, it's like we weren't really taking that break seriously. On his end, I don't really know what he was doing on his end, but I know that some of his like sinful habits, he was indulging them while we were on that break. Like, I was trying to like live my best life for the Lord, but obviously with the issue of like making an idol out of praying about the thing. So I just kept having these dreams, and I kept taking the dreams as confirmation that it was supposed to be a relationship, that it was supposed to be like something that was supposed to happen. And like, I remember one dream was like being in a room, and it was like almost like a dating game or something. It was like these guys like on stage, they were all dressed up or whatever, but it was like, or like, I wish I could remember like more of it, but It was like they were all up there, and I was supposed to, I ended up like, I don't know if I spun something or whatever, but it was like my turn, and the result of my turn was that I was supposed to end up with this other guy. Let's name him Ben. Okay? And I turned around and I was like, no, not Ben. I want you. And in the dream, I was pointing at Peter. And I woke up thinking like, yeah, Peter. Because then in my dream, that Ben guy was crying, and it's like, now that I like think back on it, I'm like, why would I automatically think that because in my dream I was pointing at Peter, that meant I was supposed to be with him? Like now looking back, I'm thinking if that dream was from the Lord, it would have been like you're choosing this guy and it's not me choosing him. You're choosing this guy over the guy that I have for you. And this is going to grieve him in some type of way, or you're choosing him over me and it's going to grieve me, but I wasn't thinking about it that way. Like I really, really wanted it to mean that we were supposed to be together. And it was just like this backwards way of trying to like self-interpret all of these dreams I was having. And I remember my pastor's wife at the time telling me that she just had this dream about me, and it was like the Lord was like I was saying that I was waiting, and the Lord's like, waiting for what? Like I'm just completely caught up in this whole thing. So then when we start dating, because yes, we did still end up dating, we came back to school that August. I was so excited to see him come back to campus, and we had some conversations, and like I want to say 2 weeks later we started dating. Like this was my actual last semester of school. So I was wrong about when it started. So it all started in the fall semester, in the spring semester that I was supposed to graduate. And then that was right. Yeah. So it started in the spring semester, then we spent the summer praying, and then the fall semester we were dating. That was my last semester of school. And then so we were dating, and I start to notice some issues. I start to notice, you've only hung out with this guy in one context and with one group of friends. Who are his friends? Who is he hanging out with? What does he act like when he's around them? What is he like with his mom for real? Have you heard their conversations? Do you know what kind of relationship they have? So come to find out, and I don't say this to like disrespect him, and I want to clarify, I'm happily married today to my husband, and he is also Peter is also married today, and has a lovely wife, and like we've both moved on and we've both grown in like so many different ways. But at the time, what I could see about his immaturity was every time he would hang out with a different group of friends, he would act different. So like if he was with all of the people that were like churchy, went to holiness churches, were in gospel choir, it would be all of this like churchy dialogue coming out of his mouth. He would hang out with another group of friends and it was okay for him to cuss all of a sudden. He would hang out with another group of friends, and like I never hung out with him and those friends, and for some reason he never really introduced me to like his closest friends, even though when we were praying about the relationship, we were praying about dating with the possibility of it ending up being a marriage thing, because I never date just to date. Like I always want to know that the other person is open to one day getting married, whether or not it's me, but knowing that they take relationships seriously. But when somebody likes you like that, they want to introduce you to their friends. They want their friends to know all about you. Maybe not right away, but I noticed problems. Like we were together for like a while. Like the whole relationship only lasted a year, but You think like a few months in at least, right? No. So the personality was always changing, and then I started feeling very suspicious, and I started feeling in my spirit just that there was this unfaithfulness. So I saw accidentally his Facebook password, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna log in and look at it. If you go looking for stuff, you're not supposed to find it, but in that case I found it. You know, if the person's not doing anything wrong, you're not gonna find anything wrong, right? So they had been sending flirtatious messages to women, women who were like nice and friendly towards me to my face, but were okay with receiving those messages. And like then telling another female like about a dream that he had about her, and she was stroking his hair and he liked it, and I just started to grow so uncomfortable. And he was, you know, being flirtatious to women in front of me, and at that point I was like, but it was that other desperate part of me that still wanted to like make myself believe those prophecies and those dreams and stuff that I made myself believe. And I kept seeing like you know, just stupid stuff that in my mind just made it seem like it was lining up. It just really made it seem like it was lining up, and like, of course God is gonna change him, or I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna do something that's gonna jumpstart that desire to change in his heart, you know. So yeah, we were still together after I found out all of that stuff. And then I grew to be like very insecure. Like I had come from a place where I was standing really strong in my relationship with the Lord, and it was like as soon as that relationship hit, it was like I let all my defenses down. And while I never had relations with this person, you know, like thank God, like, because I never would have wanted it to go there. There were a lot of like lines that were crossed in terms of boundaries and stuff like that. So once it was like ready to be over, like we were arguing a lot all the time, but it was never like productive. Like we would never get past stuff, you know, or he would never like leave behind the stuff that he was doing. And there was like a pattern of like lying, and I'm like, well, how are we lying? Like we're supposed to be saved. So at whatever point we're having an argument, I start going to college. Like I had made up a whole plan in my mind of, well, he got one more year of college, and then he has 3 years of whatever Bible training program he's gonna go to. I'm gonna go to a 4-year grad school. Let me go and do this. I go to grad school. We broke up like a week or two into grad school. I'm stuck at grad school for another 2-3 years. I'm stuck there. And I could have left, but I like that whole situation. I was on campus, and we were on the phone arguing about something I can't even remember what to this day. Oh, yes. He wanted me to write a mission statement for our relationship. And look, I'm not familiar with mission statements. That's something that like I don't always see the need to write a mission statement. My mission statement is like Nike, just do it. You know, like why write down what we're supposed to do? If we're doing it, then we'll just keep doing it, right? So he wanted me to write a mission statement. I wasn't familiar with how to phrase one, how to write one. And as resourceful as I am, it's so cringy to me. But like, at the time, I wasn't seeing like how you write one for a relationship. Like I've seen businesses have one, I've seen, you know, organizations and stuff have a mission statement, fine. But for a relationship, I was like, are we like a corporation? Like, what is this? This is super impersonal. So, my arm's getting tired because I'm not using a tripod. But, yeah, so I was just really confused on it. So I had kind of written something and he didn't like it, like at all. And we had an argument about it. And he felt like since I couldn't write a mission statement for the relationship, that was like a sign to him, you know, like it wasn't just me like trying to figure out signs for each other. Like when we were just talking one day, we showed up somewhere dressed in exactly the same colors by accident, like from like the shirt to the like jacket or vest to the bottoms to the shoes, everything matched. And he was, in his mind, that was like confirmation that we're supposed to be together. It was like dumb stuff like that, you know, like we just allowed to infiltrate our minds, right? So we had that argument. I'm like backtracking, but we had that argument about the mission statement. And I was like just over it. I was like, this is dumb, bro, like this is dumb. And he broke up with me over the phone that day. And I was so hurt. I was heartbroken. I was devastated. I was like depressed. Like I was literally depressed for like 8 months at least. And then even after that 8 months, I was still hurt to the point where like I didn't trust men. I was looking at all of them like, you're gonna be doing the same thing that he did. So I can't tolerate this behavior in you. Like I see you looking at me sideways. I'm not going because, you know, whatever. But yeah, that was a really hard hit. And it was all because I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening. I was not listening. And yeah, I think if I could go back, like I think out of all of the things in my life that I have done wrong, that's one thing that like, if I could take it back and not change anything else about my life, I could take that back. But then if I, you know, it's like everything is like connected, you know, because if it hadn't been for that relationship being the motivation for me to go to the school I went to for grad school, and you know, I wouldn't have gone to my grad school. I wouldn't have been involved in the gospel choir there. I wouldn't have ended up meeting my husband. So you know, that like, I guess it sounds harsh to say that I wish I could take it away, but I think the reason I say that is because I allowed that to take away from my resilience. I allowed it to take away from my identity. I let myself identify a lot with him, and like the fact that we were talking about getting married. So in my mind, it was the same thing, like we were pre-engaged or something.